There are many things that a university should do for the students who come to it. And one of the most important is certainly assisting students to make good decisions about the way they're going to lead their lives, their callings, their professional choices, how they are going to lead their public and private lives. And I suggest there are three questions that help to make that decision. The first question is this, whatever the role is that you're considering, a source of joy? Secondly, is it something that taps your talents, that really engages all of your abilities and all of your gifts and uses them in the fullest and richest way possible? And thirdly, is this role a genuine service to the people around you, to the society at large? Or, if I can put those three questions in a slightly snappier fashion, do you get a kick out of it? Are you any good at it? And does anybody want you to do it? First of all, the question about joy. Now, I have to make a distinction right at the start. There is a difference between joy and happiness. I'm not asking, does this vocation make you happy? Because happiness is dependent on all sorts of external factors. It's affected by whether I slept well last evening, whether breakfast agrees with me, what the weather is like, whether I'm feeling well on a particular day. All sorts of external factors come into play affecting whether or not I'm feeling happy at any given moment. Joy, however, is something much deeper and much more central. It comes from within. It's a sense of the genuine rightness of the way at which one lives one's life. So happiness can change from day to day, indeed sometimes from moment to moment. If on any particular day you were to ask me, are you happy being a priest? The answer might, on a particular day, be, well, not terribly, because I'm busy and I'm preoccupied and things have gone wrong and the car didn't start this morning and there's too much snow and I skipped lunch. But if you ask me at any time, is being a priest a joyful way to live a life? The answer is certainly yes, it is. That this is a deeply and importantly good way for me to live my life. That's what I mean by joy, the sense of the rightness of the way in which one is living one's life. On the other hand, I'm not talking about satisfaction either. As it happens, I think satisfaction is not only not the same thing as joy, I think in some ways it can detract from joy. Indeed, St. Augustine, in his Confessions, suggests that a human being is one whose heart is restless until it rests in God. Therefore, for Augustine, dissatisfaction, restlessness, is not a bad thing. Indeed, it's the best thing about us. It's what constantly moves us forward, makes us grow, expands our horizons, deepens our perceptions. Dissatisfaction is a very healthy, a very important, and a very valuable thing. The great American 20th century poet, Marianne Moore, ends one of her, I think, finest poems with the line, "Satisfaction is a lowly thing. How pure a thing is joy." A sense of contentment, a sense that, yeah, everything's fine as it is. I don't have to grow, I don't have to change, I don't have to do anything beyond what I am doing. Far from being part of the way one discerns one's vocation, can actually be an obstacle at one's vocation. By contrast, joy always pushes us forward. To be really joyful at one's role in life is to feel a kind of impulsion, a kind of pressure to move forward, to do more, to expend oneself more deeply, more richly, more fully, to open one's talents even more widely than one had before. So the question is, first and foremost, what gives you joy? What is the source of your joy? How do you begin to discover that? Well, the first thing I should point out about discovering it is that you answer this question. You may consult lots of other people, parents and friends, teachers, counselors, spiritual directors. You may invite them to help you discern what is a source of joy for you. But finally, no one but you can say, this is my joy. You have to discover that for yourself. Now, in doing so, one useful approach can be to ask, what have you discovered about yourself to this point? Over the years, I've often said to students that one of the best ways to get inside any creative thinker's mind, a philosopher, a theologian, an artist, a scientist, one of the best ways to get into the way they think is to ask, what are their obsessions? That is to say, what are the things that they can't leave alone? Questions, concerns, issues that they return to over and over and over again. That when they're talking about one issue, lo and behold, they end up making it a question about this other concern. Well, one of the questions that you might consider is, what are your obsessions? What are the concerns, the questions, the issues that you find yourself returning to again and again and again because they fascinate you, they excite you, they really intrigue you, they puzzle you, they lure you on, they get you to ask more and more questions? That's a very good indication that this is a place where your joy lies. And if you are going to spend a life, for heaven's sake, spend it in a way that gives you joy. There would be nothing worse than to come to the end of one's life, certainly one's professional life, look back upon it and say, on the whole, it was dull. The most important thing you can do is come to a point in your life where you can say, this, whatever this is a genuine joy for me. Now, that joy may lead you in many, many directions. It may bring you on to further questions. You see, there's never a point where you can say, the issue of my calling is settled. Vocations lead to vocations. Answering one question may well raise other questions and lead you forward. There's no point in your life where you can say, vocational discernment is settled. I don't need to ask those questions any longer. The only time your vocation is settled is when you're perfectly settled. And that will probably happen about a quarter of an hour after they seal the casket. So I suggest to you that what you need to do is look for the ways joy leads you forward. Look at the ways it moves you on to other questions. Now, some people, close friends, people who have known you a long time, people with whom you've been very honest and whose opinion you genuinely trust, those people may be able to tell you, in my observation, the times when I've seen you most energized, most excited, most alive, have been when you've been engaged in X or Y or Z. That may be a very helpful thing to hear, because although no one else can answer the question for you, they may be able to help you frame the question. And it is in framing the question that one begins the process of answering it. So by all means, consult others. But remember, only you can finally say, this is a genuine source of joy in my life. Happiness is something quite distinct. If you end up happy, I'll be delighted, and I'm sure you will be. But it's not what your life is about. It's not about contentment or satisfaction. Indeed, there are few things that I would wish for people more than that they remain discontented and dissatisfied, always prodded to move on. But joy is the delight one takes in being dissatisfied. It's the deep delight that one feels in being called to something still before you, to a new decision and a new way of living. So the first question in discerning what you do with your life is it a source of joy for you?